Solitaun here, back with more Total War Rome 2 PvP. This is a fight between barbarian factions. This is Suebi, my opponent is Suebi, versus me, who's Getae. I saw him pick Suebi, so I thought this was a really good opportunity to try out Getae. These two factions are arguably the weakest in the game. So I was like, oh, this is probably the only time I'm really going to get to play Getae and actually have a chance of winning. So I decided to do it. Armies. What I brought 2 noble swords, 1 for each flank. I brought, I think, 5 mercenary axe warriors, 3 spear warriors. I brought 4 Dracian heavy skirmishers. I believe it's 4. Yeah, 4 Dracian heavy skirmishers. I brought a noble spears as my general, and spear horsemen, 4 spear horsemen. I knew he was going to have the cav advantage because Suebi have a lot better cav than Getae does, so that's why I brought a spear noble as my general. Usually you don't bring spears as your general, just because spears are not that great. Just first cav, and everything else they pretty much suck against. So I knew he had a cav advantage. That's the only reason I brought the spear nobles as my general. Now for my skirmishers, I brought Dracian heavy skirmishers. Haven't tried these guys out yet. I thought this was a good opportunity because I knew Suebi had a very poor skirmish option. Pretty much it's just longbows, and that's it. So here we go. We're lining up to get ready to attack. My opponent brought 2 noble riders, which is pretty much all you need against Getae. Getae doesn't really have an option to fight them except for spears. He brought a spear levy, 2 of them, swordmasters as his general, wolf warriors. Let's see, 2 wolf warriors, unless some are hidden. Berserks. I know he had at least 2 berserks. He brought spear brothers. There's another berserk. Okay, and we've got another wolf warrior, longbow, another berserk. So I guess he had 3 berserks. No, only 2. Yeah, only 2 berserks. Swordmaster. So here I see his cav coming up on the flanks. So I have both my cav here, and I brought spears out right away, knowing full well I'm gonna need those. My Dracian heavy skirmishers are picking off his Bloodsworn, which I really should have been picking off these Swordmasters or the Berserks, but he brought the Berserks in last, which is really smart after chasing off my skirmishers. My opponent wasn't bad. He wasn't bad at all. Probably one of the better guys I've fought so far. So I charged my mercenary axe warriors into his wolf warriors. This is going to actually be a really close fight between wolf warriors and my mercenary axe warriors. Here I brought in the noble swords on the flank to go after his berserks. Pretty much the only infantry that I have that can stand up to berserks are my noble swords. He brought in his noble riders to come and charge my mercenary axe warriors, which is really good, really smart on his part. He did the same thing over here, except he went after my noble swords, which wasn't as good. So now my spear warriors can come in straight from the back, start hitting his noble riders, and now my spear horsemen are free to harass his skirmishers. But he does have a lot of spear units, so it's not exactly easy for me to get in there without taking a ton of losses. So here his wolf warriors are starting to break. My mercenary axe warriors are doing pretty well, but then my mercenary axe start to break because the berserks are coming in from the side, and the berserks are going to absolutely destroy everything that I have. So he actually broke through my line. His wolf warrior is going into my back line, but he hit my noble spears. My noble spears are going to take care of wolf warriors. That's already really, really low, pretty easily. So here he comes, trying to get my skirmishers, which is really good. But these skirmishers, the Dracian heavy skirmishers, can actually handle themselves relatively well in melee. Not a lot, but relatively well. Here my noble swords are about to break. They're getting attacked from both sides. I start, kind of playing with my cav on the outside, keeping his spears back here. Probably not the best use of my cav. I probably could have helped my line a little bit better. because he did have to keep these spear units back to protect his skirmishers, so not a good play on my part at all. One of his noble riders actually broke through with only 26 men left, but that's enough to actually harass a lot of my skirmishers, if you couldn't tell. These noble swords got a ton of kills. They did amazing, and I brought in my other noble swords on this side. One of my spear horsemen got caught by spear brothers. That's not that big of a deal. I mean, on the charge, my spear horseman actually did a lot of damage, but I kept him in there, and that's when they start to die. So here I actually got one of my spear horsemen into one of his longbow hunters, and it's gonna rout him almost instantly. Again, my noble swords, I brought in my second noble swords. They're starting to take out spear brothers and sword masters by themselves. His noble rider's still harassing my skirmish line, but it does take a longer time to kill a Dracian heavy skirmisher than it does a longbow hunter. So I should be all right for the time being. I don't want him to sit back there too long, getting too many kills. Here, the berserks are starting to fall to my mercenary axe warriors, but of course, berserks, if they're hanging in there long enough, I'm going to start beating my mercenary axe warriors pretty well. So, here my spear horsemen got caught by his spear brothers and a spear levy, and that's going to be the end of them. Spear horsemen aren't that good, but that's the only real melee cav option that the Getae have. Actually, it's the only option the Getae have is melee cav. They have a pretty good shot cav, but shot cav aren't nearly as good if you don't get a charge off, and it's really hard to get a charge, especially on this map, because there's so many trees. So that's why I didn't really pick the shot cav. Here, his backline's actually doing pretty well. His spear units are actually protecting his skirmishers, but he did leave this one open, and I do take advantage of it and charge it right away and take it out. His noble riders are chasing these heavy skirmishers all over the place. I do have my noble spears going after him, so should be alright. He finally brought his longbow hunters through his spear line, so I actually have to go all the way around, and I just brought him back out. Here, I'm doing pretty well. I'm taking out his berserks with a ton of units. Berserks are really tough if you don't hit them with skirmish fire. Here, my Dracian heavy skirmishers are starting to rout because they did get caught by the noble riders, but he actually lets them get caught by my noble spears, and that's the end of his line over there. Here's a small little fight between berserks and noble swords. There's berserks I think are gonna have because they have a lot more men, and these guys are winded, and these guys were fresh, so they're out of control actually. That's kind of funny. So here I took out these berserks here, and I'm starting to go after his line. I'm feeling pretty good because I do have a lot of spear horsemen left, and I did take out his cav over here with my noble spears. And like I said, these guys are actually pretty good. Here, let's take a look at melee. Where are they? So their melee defense is 33, their charge bonus is 12, their weapon damage is 44. 44, and their melee attack is 24. So if they hit you, they're gonna hit you hard. That's why Dracian skirmishers are actually pretty cool, but they won't score hits a lot, but when they do, it's gonna be a lot of damage. So they actually took out that spear unit with another spear warrior relatively fast. So I'm going to go after his other spear levy, and then I can free to charge into his skirmishers without any chance of his spears actually coming after me, because they're going to be tied up with heavy skirmishers and my spear warriors. His berserk's coming again, but I'm going to charge him with some cav, and that's going to be pretty much the end of his berserks there. So here I come, coming in from the back with some spear horsemen. My Dracian skirmishers having a good old time with this spear levy. Spear levy is going to get their butt kicked by a Dracian heavy skirmisher, which I think is pretty funny. So here come my heavy skirmishers, another set of heavy skirmishers from the side. I get the charge in. He starts going after my cav when he's already engaged, and that's when he loses a ton of men. Look at that, because he turned his back. That was a mistake. He should have just kept in there. I know he wanted to protect his skirmishers, but pretty much his skirmishers were dead anyway. Actually, I mean, he pretty much lost anyway, but really good game to my opponent. He was really good. He made a lot of good decisions, like bringing in those Berserk second, bringing his Noble Cav into my back line. He did really well. I did win, but at a very high cost. And we can see where the kills are. Look at his Berserks. Well, 2 of Berserks. One of them got killed pretty quick, but 216 kills, 260 kills on his Berserks. Absolutely crazy. Crazy on his Berserks. Most of my guys actually got a lot of kills besides this one Horseman. Other than that, a lot of these guys really did pay for themselves. These Dracian heavy skirmishers did really well. Most of these kills were probably in melee, honestly. Mercenary Axe Warriors actually did pretty well, most of them. Noble Swords, 241 kills, 111 kills, and then my Spear Warriors there. So, yeah, not too bad of a fight. Actually was really good. Really close fight, honestly. If I would have made 1 or 2 mistakes, I think I would have lost. So, really good game to him, and I will see you guys next time.